Hi, I'm Alexia and welcome to my channel. I am going to start my channel off by doing the mid-year book Freakout Tag. I think that's how you say it. First things first, if you're wondering, are you on the floor? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And if you hear scratching, it is my cat scratching the wall because I guess she does that now. So yeah, I thought, you know what? Sitting on the floor is a cozy little vibe. So grab your favorite drink of preference. Hopefully it looks better than mine. And let's get down into it. I've been watching these tags and I feel like everyone has read like 60 to 70 books. And that's not me. The best way to put it is when I read one of, I think it was Emily Henry's books, and she was saying that the main character, I think it was Book Lovers actually, I think it was Nora, and she was like, I go into my books like a bubble bath, like nice and slow, and my sister goes into it like a quick hot shower. I'm a bubble bath girly, so I've only read 11 books this year so far. I wish I could read super quickly. Please teach me how to do that, but that's just not me. And I know everyone's like, oh, don't feel bad about it. And I'm just like, you know what? You've read like 50 books this year, and I don't have that capability. Like, I'm still reading books of 2 years ago. I digress. Dang, I had to pull up my Goodreads list just to remember the 11 books I've read. You're like, well, yeah, Alexia, it takes you half a year just to read 5 books. So the first prompt is the best book I've read so far. That will probably go to, I think Legendborn. Why did I say that like that? Legendborn. By Tracy Dion. Also, sorry I'm scratching my face so much. There's like so much cat hair in here right now. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's a new fantasy. It's kind of a, well, it is a King Arthur retelling. It's just so good. It's just so good. It is just one of the most inclusive fantasy novels I've read. There's Black woman representation, there is LGBTQ representation, someone is non-binary in the book, so they use they them pronouns, so that's just really cool to see. And honestly, just describing it does not do it justice. But it's about Brianna Matthews. She goes to college and is dealing with / healing from the death of her mother. She discovers this whole new world and she immerses herself in it to try to seek more closure and information on the death of her mother. And along the way, she just is thrown into the secret society, which is where the retelling of Arthur comes in, but then she also has her own powers, which stems from, it's called Root, and it stems from her own ancestry. Her ancestors call it something else, and the secret society, they call it something else, and they're kind of at odds with what it is, what it means, how they use it. So I just love this series. I read the second book of the series already this year too, and I just love it. Usually I don't love love triangles because you're kind of rooting for one person more than the other. That's kind of the case in this one, but I don't know. It's just done really well in this one too, because all of the characters are just developed so well, and I just love it. I could go on and on and on, but I don't want to spend just 15 minutes just on one prompt. I gotta get through 13. So yeah, best book so far that I rated 5 stars is Legendborn. Just has new magic that just a new side of like fantasy and magic that I just loved getting to know. I love the secret society aspect. I love the characters. I love how strong Brianna is. I love just how much she grows in the novel, yet stays true to herself. And I just love Selwyn. Ugh. And I just love all the characters. I guess I love Nick too, but side eye. Well, the second prompt is the best sequel I've read so far. Given that this is the only sequel I've read, yeah, I'm giving it to Bloodmarked, which probably would have won anyway. I don't know if it's, I think it's somewhere. Oh yeah, they're right there. Right here. Yeah, Bloodmarked 100%. I will say I did like Legendborn a lot more, which is interesting because I feel like sometimes the first novels, it just feels like you're trying to get into the world so much that the second one is a lot better. But I did like the first one a little bit more than the second one, but the second one is still very strong. I rated it 4 stars. New release you haven't read yet, but want to. Well, honestly, so I think I have like 14, 15 books that I own right now that I am considering my TBR pile, and I think any of those are fair game for this prompt. My goal is to finish it by January, which I gotta read faster if that's the case, but I made a deal with my boyfriend. I said I am not gonna buy any more books until I finish my physical TBR, and if I do cave, I have to buy him a pin because we have been really into like collecting Disney pins. So I figured that when I go book shopping now, I have to think about the fact that if a book is, say, $10, I'm actually going to be paying $20 or $25. So hopefully that works. I'm staying strong right now. But anyway, to be very specific, let's see. I would say probably Warcross. I don't think this is like super new. Oh, 2017. That's like pretty new. When my boyfriend and I went, we were looking for something. We had just read Ready Player One and loved it. And we asked for something that was similar to that. And I think she said this was a mix between the Ready Player One and the Hunger Games, question mark? Don't quote me on that. Bookseller, if you somehow in a miracle watch this, let me know what you actually said. So this one is about Emeka Chen, and she's a hacker, and she works as a bounty hunter to essentially track down people who play, I think it's a game called Warcross, but they bet on the game illegally. So she basically hunts them down and is like, stop, don't do that. But somehow she finds herself oh my gosh, my cat is sleeping on my stuffed chicken in the chair. I need to show you. Like, hello? That is so cute. Also, you can see how terrible the lighting is, so you're welcome for not making you look at my video in that condition. She ends up getting pulled into the game and becomes an overnight sensation, and then so it basically, I think there she meets, oh yeah, it says she gets a call from the game's creator, the young billionaire Hideo Tanaka, and he makes her an offer she can't refuse, and suddenly Amika's whistled off to Tokyo into a world of fame and fortune. But the more time she spends with Hideo, the sooner the lines begin to blur between business and something more, pulling her deeper into a sinister plot with major consequences for the entire Warcross empire. So yes, I am looking forward to this one. I love fantasy and sci-fi. Actually, I haven't read that much sci-fi, but I love fantasy, so I guess this isn't fantasy. Oh wait, this literally says a quote from the thing. It says The Hunger Games meets Minecraft. So yeah, I think that's what the bookseller said. I think they said it reminds me of Ready Player One mixed with Hunger Games. So just that alone sounds super interesting and intriguing. So that's my answer. 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I'm not super aware of what is coming out later this year, but I did remember that Cassandra Clare's book, I think, comes out in October, and it's her first adult fantasy. So I'm so psyched for that. I love Cassandra Clare. She's the one who really opened my eyes to how deep and what is the word I'm looking for? How deeply you can just envelop yourself in the world. And the Mortal Instruments just did that for me. I'm not gonna reread it though as an adult. I would like to keep that series as in my mind as a great little segue into reading and fantasy for myself. I know so many people have reread the Mortal Instruments are like, girly, what was that? Also not the weird incest in it. However, the Infernal Devices, oh my god. I think that's like the only love triangle where I've just loved every like relationship in it, and like, oh my god, it's just wow, chef's kiss. I'm looking forward to her book. I don't even know what it's about, but just the fact that it's gonna be adult fiction, I'm like, are we gonna get spicy scenes without fade to black? Because yes please. Biggest disappointment, I will say, honestly, The Silent Patient. Please don't hate me. I know a lot of you guys are probably gonna be like, yeah, I would say The Silent Patient. I don't know. I feel like this was really hyped and everyone was like, whoa, the ending was crazy. And I was like, I don't know. A little side-eye moment, but that's probably y'all at me right now. I thought it was well written. I didn't think the writing was bad. It was interesting. I will say I do remember it being a little bit slow at the beginning. It just kind of felt like we were going through her life at a very slow pace, and also nothing was really happening that was super interesting. And then I think halfway through, or like towards the end, no, I think halfway through, that's when I got more invested in it. I don't know, the ending was just, it wasn't very surprising to me. I will say I do like the ending for what it was. It just didn't do it for me. I think the books I gravitate least towards are probably like thrillers and mysteries. However, if you guys have good recommendations, let me know, because obviously I like reading everything. It's just like anytime I've read very few of those, but the ones I have read just have not really impressed me too much. So, biggest surprise, I think probably Lessons in Chemistry. I had such a hard time getting into that book. I think the point of view of Elizabeth and how she was, and maybe a little bit of the writing, because I had never really read something like that before. I can't even explain what it was. It just reminded me of like in high school when you read those short stories a little bit, like how it's very straightforward. Not straightforward. Oh my god. God, Bonnie Garmis is probably going to be like, what'd you just say about my writing? I remember it taking probably like 130 pages for me to get fully into it. But then suddenly I just completely loved it. It was just so funny, and Elizabeth as a character is just, she's just so badass. And then people had these reactions to her that were just comical, because it was like she was being so logical and straightforward, and they're like just so jarred that she was, because I guess because she's a woman in the 60s, you know. It was just really funny. I loved, there's a dog's point of view in it, and that was just amazing, and her daughter is amazing, and you just really grow to love all of the characters, and I just got really invested in wanting to learn more in them. The cooking show was just phenomenal. There's just so many quotes that just really spoke to me. So yeah, I think that was my biggest surprise. I was just so surprised that with how the beginning felt to me, that I just completely devoured it, and just I loved it. 7, favorite new author. New to you or debut? I think this one will probably go to TJ Klune. I loved this book. Apart from Legendborn, which I mentioned earlier, this is the other 5 stars I've given so far. And oh man, this was just lovely. It has the found family trope. It's about Linus Baker. He is a caseworker for the, I forget, it's a super long name, the department in charge of magical youth. And he's stuck to the same routine. He does the same thing every day, just basically wakes up, feeds his sassy cat, goes to work, comes back home, deals with his annoying neighbor, and repeats the whole cycle again. So when he's given a case to go to an island and stay there for a month to basically review the headmaster and see if he's a good fit for the kids that he's in charge of, he's kind of taken by surprise, and he is uncomfortable with having to change his routine. And he doesn't find out until later that the reason why he's going is because all of these kids are actually considered the most dangerous kids there are out there of magical youth. It was just magical, and it just felt like a hug, and I was just so sad that I had to leave by the end of it, because I just loved the characters and I wish I could just stay on this island with them forever. There's a lot to do with just inequality and prejudice against people based on just anger and fear, and people just fearing change. And also from like Linus's perspective, there's a lot to be said of what keeps us from our dreams and the fear of change in that, and also just not believing you deserve a good future or your dreams or your wishes, whatever it may be. I want to read more by TJ Klune. I know they wrote Under the Whispering Door, and I read the little blurb of that one, and I think it's so intriguing. I know they're releasing, I think, a new book this year, question mark? Maybe it's 2024. But yeah, newest fictional crush, I would say, oh my gosh, absolutely Selwyn Kane from the Legendborn series. 100%. Oh my god, I love him. You know, who doesn't love a broody, just a broody, sarcastic male lead, you know? The ending of Bloodmarked, ugh. If anyone wants to talk about it in the comments below, please. I would love to talk about that with someone. Yeah, Selwyn Kane 100%. I think I've said that like 3 times. Newest favorite character. Oh, character. I'm not gonna overthink it. The first character that came to mind was Lucy from The House in the Cerulean Sea. He's one of the kids who's on the island, and he's quote unquote the Antichrist, and that's why he's being kept in that specific home. I just loved his character. It was just so sweet. I just loved the representation of his character too, like just having these expectations kind of put on you and you thinking that's kind of your destiny, and then you're taught that you can be whoever you want to be and your choices really make who you are, not what you're born into. And he was just so funny and silly, and he was always trying to scare Linus, and it was just so funny. And then he was just such a sweetheart, and yeah, I think he was definitely my favorite character so far. Number 10, book that made me cry 100%. I just know The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Is it Hannah or Hannah? I think it's Hannah. Kristen Hanna. Oh my god. You know when you like read a book that just really impacted you emotionally and you just like kind of think about it for 3 seconds and then you're like, never mind, that was a mistake. Yeah, that's The Great Alone for me. It was very good. I do recommend it. However, I do want to say that it's a very heavy book. I felt a little bit like it was almost endless tragedy until the very end. And when I say the very end, I literally mean like probably the last 2 pages. I will say it was beautiful. It's about this girl who moves to Alaska with her family. Her dad is dealing with PTSD, and with that has kind of come a more unstable upbringing for her because he wants to move them around a lot because he thinks that a new location will help him calm the demons that he's dealing with. So he decides to move them to Alaska, and it's kind of it's just the whole process and journey of having to live in a completely new place that is unlike anywhere they've been before. And then winter hits, and it's just kind of the family dealing with the reality of Alaska and how harsh it is and how deadly it can be to live there. And wow, it's just so tragic, and it's like so beautiful, and yet it's just so tragic. I remember I had to finish the book because I was leaving on vacation, so I was like reading it super fast in the car so I could return it to the library. And I just remember I just started sobbing in the car, and my boyfriend was like, "Are you okay?" If you read that book, I do recommend it. I rated it 4 stars. However, be prepared to just cry and sob. 11, book that made you happy. I keep bringing The House in the Cerulean Sea up, but this is the latest one that this is the first one I thought about, so I'm just gonna go with this one. It was just so cute, and yeah, I just loved this. It made me so happy. All the characters just made me laugh, and Linus is just such a funny character too, like just seeing him get uncomfortable. The other one I will say is Lessons in Chemistry, which now that I'm like kind of putting them side to side, it's very much, the characters are just so great and they just made me so happy. Most beautiful book you've bought this year or received? I went to a book festival recently and I got some books signed. This is hard. Honestly, I'm gonna just shout all of these out. So, definitely Geraldine Brooks. I was so attracted to her covers. So, People of the Book and Horse. Oh, yeah. Black Chameleon, too, by Deborah Deep Mutton. I love the cover, and that's what really caught my attention on it. And Red Clay Susie, too. I just really like the colors. These are all just so colorful. So definitely a very vibrant haul. Jeffrey Dale Lofton, I met them and they were just so lovely and so nice, and I was so nervous to ask them to sign the book because I didn't ask them like at the table. I just saw them and asked them if they would be willing to sign the book because I bought it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, of course, of course." And then they're like, "I don't want to just sign it. I have a whole process of doing this." Jeffrey was just like, "Oh, I have stamps that I got made just specifically for this book." So, yeah. So this is the cute. I think Jeffrey said that this car is in the book. Someday, one day, and yeah, it just says, "Alexia and Blake, to a more inclusive world. Warm regards, Jeffrey." Jeffrey was just very lovely. So a lovely, lovely book made by a lovely author. And lastly, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So, like I said before, my physical TBR. I think I already kind of answered this on accident. Warcross, probably. I mean, that's one I really want to read, but I don't know if I'm necessarily like super set on that one specifically finishing by the end of the year. Definitely one is All the Lights We Cannot See by Anthony Dower. I don't know if that's how you say the last name, because I saw that the movie is coming out, so I really want to read that before the movie comes out. If some type of movie or show comes out and I watch that first, I will never read the book, or it's very rare that I do. I think that's the main one that I feel like this really big need to finish that one for sure. I mean, like I said, if all goes well, my physical TBR will all have been read by the end of the year. But yeah, also I'm reading Dance of Thieves right now, so I really want to finish that one. I'm really enjoying it so far. Oh, it's already the 29th. That's insane. That's so crazy. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's super great to get to talk to you guys. Thanks for watching if you've gotten this far into the video. I actually have a book club. It's called Bottomless Reads on Fable the app. If you guys want to join, I'll include the link down below. Comment any thoughts that you have. I would love to talk to you guys, and I hope to see you sometime soon. Bye!